Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, I'm going to do the media thing and read way too much into a small piece of news. There has been 2 players committed to Team USA, Draymond Green and Dame Lillard. There have been rumors and reports that Draymond Green may be interested in playing with Dame in Portland. Jalen, is this an indication that they could play together, not just on Team USA, but in the NBA?
Well, the last few summers, sometimes you hear rumblings about the Golden State Warriors may want to consider trading Draymond Green. So if you day after a great season like this defensively, and you and Steph were #1 in assists hooking up this year, and they want to move on from you, guess what I could do? I could go run with the Mama's boys in Portland.
I would love that, and I know you are going to love this as the #1 statue analyst, not just at ESPN, but in the entire world. We have news that there's a George Floyd statue unveiled outside of City Hall in Newark. What do you think about this?
Rest in peace, George Floyd. Shout out to Steven Jackson for all of the work he's done to help keep the legacy of George Floyd alive. And I appreciate Newark for making this happen. And I believe Minnesota in particular should follow suit.
Absolutely. We will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. on ESPN2.
Thank you. You're far too kind.
Center with Stephen A. Smith, and then 7:30 NBA Countdown. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby, coming to you live from the Seaport District of Manhattan and brought to you by Chase. Jalen, in Game 5, Kevin Durant did not have Kyrie Irving, barely had James Harden, scored 49 points, got them the come-from-behind win. Tonight, in Game 6, will Giannis cover Kevin Durant?
Yes.
Will it happen?
How about this? When Giannis got in the car and went home after the last game, he was in the ride with his big brother. And I guarantee his older brother told him, man, if coach put me in there, I'll lock KD down. Right? You know he said that. You know he has that irrational confidence or he wouldn't be in the league, right? That's his role, right? And you know the second thing he said? Hey, dog, I ain't as good as you. We actually need you to accept the challenge. And if you look back at this series, in the fourth quarter, you know how many times Giannis Antetokounmpo has guarded Kevin Durant?
In the entire series?
0. Like, I'm extremely disappointed in that, dog.
Pat Connaughton should not cover Kevin Durant more than Giannis.
Family. By accident, if you're out there playing 40 minutes and another guy playing 48 minutes, you have to guard him. Put that back up there. His brother got to stand up guarding him. See what I'm saying?
The Nassus Antetokounmpo. Yeah.
Come on, dog.
4 times the Nassus Antetokounmpo has guarded Kevin Durant in the fourth quarter. 0 times Giannis.
Dog, you have to, and first off, not only greatness on greatness, ability on ability, MVP on MVP, but how about just sheer length? Like, these are 2 dudes, and let me teach you guys about the anatomy of a 6'11 player. Kevin Durant is the 6'11 player with guard skills, but the height of a big that can do some things like block shots, contest shots. Giannis at 6'11 has the ability of a big where he's gonna get you the boards, get you the blocks, and play near the paint, but also has the ability to get out on the floor and initiate offense and guard point guards and stuff like that. But that ain't his forte. Look back even a couple of years ago when the Toronto Raptors advanced past the Milwaukee Bucks. I bet if you go back to that series, you could say the same thing about Giannis not guarding Kawhi Leonard. So
it's going to happen tonight, though.
But tonight is the night. Tonight.
And we'll see what we get from James Harden. Obviously, they're going to be without Kyrie Irving, who didn't even travel to Milwaukee for the game. And injuries have told the story of this postseason.
Yes.
There has been 9 All-Stars.
Wow, that's crazy.
That have missed games, including Chris Paul, if he misses game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. And LeBron James chimed in on this on Twitter. He basically said, we knew this was going to happen when you put out the schedule. We were going to have injuries, and now you see it at the end. You see, it says, sorry fans, wish you guys were seeing all your fave guys right now. It's worth noting that the Players Association agreed with the schedule, wanted the money. What do you think about LeBron's comments?
How many times have LeBron made it to the finals?
10.
Okay, during those 10 finals runs, if you look back at the journey, I guarantee you there were teams that had injuries.
Always. It's always the story in the postseason.
I remember when he was in Miami, they was going to play against, I think, the Bulls. Derrick Rose and them, they had injuries. Like, that's a part of the game. It looks different now in a 72-game schedule when you have 9 All-Stars getting injured and we're playing championship basketball in July.
Yep.
That's something that we've never done. But here's the thought I want to make sure I put out there. Anthony Davis has kind of been injury prone his entire career.
Entire career. Nothing to do with the shortened season or the bubble or anything.
And LeBron said that he was going to empty the clip and throw the gun. Well, at the end of, I believe, game 4, he was trying to pass the ball to Marc Gasol, and Chris Paul stole the ball. Right? And then that was basically the end of that, right?
There it is.
And then the game after that, game 5, 5 minutes to go.
Walking the tunnel.
I thought that he was going to become Superman for game 6. That's I
thought it was going to be 40 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists.
And then look at our guy, saucing on him in game 6. You see Crowder saucing on him? So that's what LeBron is talking about. The Lakers got bounced. That's what happened. He and like Laker fans have to sit back and watch a guy that they coined Pandemic P play basketball in the playoffs while the purple and gold's on the sideline.
When Kawhi is injured, Paul George steps up, wins a pivotal game. And when Kyrie and James Harden are injured, Kevin Durant steps up, wins a critical game.
That's what the Lakers needed from LeBron, the kind of performance that they got from KD, the kind of performance they got from Paul George.
And LeBron, to defend LeBron, because you know I love LeBron.
He is the king.
He was also injured. He was also injured himself. And I think that George and Kevin Durant were not.
And I got to tell you a secret. LeBron's kind of older than these dudes.
A little bit.
He needed a break.
A little bit.
He needed a break.
When we were talking about Hall & Oates in the previous block, LeBron got the reference. That's how old he is. That's how old he is. When we come back, we have some information about Team USA basketball. And you know what I'm going to do, Jalen?
What?
What can you say about the resilience from this squad?
I love the way we fight. This team never gives up.
It's the playoffs. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win.
Embiid is rolling early.
Keep going.
Sixers with all kind of swagger. Lou Williams feeling it. Oh my goodness. Here he goes. And Young scores again. Gallinari, big shot for the Hawks. What a comeback and what a collapse.
He is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What exactly is it that we do?
We get the people what they want.
We have an update on the Mavs front office. Paul George got it done without Kawhi Leonard, but we start with the Sixers and the Hawks. Jalen Anthony Rose. This game was over. The Sixers were up by 24 points.
Waxing the Hawks.
It was over. And then Trae Young and the Hawks turned the entire thing around. This was not a comeback. This was a collapse by the Sixers. What do you think of this game?
First, shout to Nate McMillan, because the resolve of this young basketball team has been remarkable for their first overall playoff run together. And Trae Young in particular, going against multiple defenders.
Oh, yeah.
It don't matter whether it's Ben Simmons. It don't matter whether it's Thibault. It don't matter whether it's Tobias Harris. He's still finding a way to initiate the offense and play make for those around him. In particular, the beneficiary is our guy, John Collins. And that 3 that he made was major.
Huge.
In that comeback.
Huge.
And all of a sudden now, if you're Philadelphia, you go from being in the driver's seat thinking that you have the answers to solving Trae Young, and then they go to the bench. Lou Will came in the fourth quarter.
Lemon Pepper Lou.
He was balling.
Yeah, he was.
Putting in work. He and Gallo. Were both balling, and they needed that productivity to get themselves back in the game.
My only criticism of Gallo's game last night is, remember when he had the mohawk? He's letting it grow out now. Like, he needs to see the barber. It just looks so much better with the mohawk. He had a playoff cut. But Jalen, I can't stress this enough, as we celebrated the Hawks. This was a complete meltdown from a strategy perspective, from an execution perspective, and from a gentleman by the name of Ben Simmons.
So the thing about Ben Simmons, I believe if the Philadelphia 76ers lose to the Atlanta Hawks, when you look at the landscape of the Eastern Conference, Boston is now changing their coach. The Nets now have a big 3. The Bucks have Giannis re-signed. I believe if they lose the series, they'll probably change their coach. So if you're Philly, what move do you now make? Hinkie, gone. GM, trust the process. Old coach, Brown, gone.
Gone.
Right? You bring in Daryl Morey. You bring in Doc Rivers. And all of a sudden you're getting bounced by the Hawks. I believe if the Sixers lose in this series, they're going to break up Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Well, they tried. They tried earlier this season. They tried to trade Ben Simmons for James Harden. It did not work. But you know there are only 2 human beings in a Sixers jersey that scored field goals in the second half, and that was Seth Curry, who had a great